Hello everyone, this is Debian from Cloud Technology Experts. In this series of videos that we have been doing on Linux fundamentals, today I'm trying a different format, and this means that we will be using streaming to YouTube. With time, the idea is that more people can join live sessions and hopefully learn more from these sessions that I'm going to be doing. And again, just to remind you, this will be a channel where you're going to learn everything DevOps, the fundamentals of DevOps, and all this would lead to also talking about artificial intelligence and how that is going to impact our job in the future. And just to also make sure you understand, it doesn't matter which technology you want to be working on, Linux is still going to be the foundation of everything in tech. So I want to create these videos, hopefully that they will help someone to learn the fundamentals of using Linux. So in today's video, we'll be talking about how to work with files and directories. All right, so this will be the thing we'll talk about. This will be the things we'll talk about in this video. We'll start with Linux Essentials, learning the commands that you need to navigate your environment. I have talked about most of this in the previous videos, so this video will kind of put everything together in one place. So after that, the second thing is we're going to learn the differences between files and directories and how to use them. And then we're going to learn on how to create and manage files in Linux. Then we'll learn how to copy files and move files and delete files whenever you don't need them anymore. And then we'll understand the concept of hidden files and using wildcards. And then finally, we're going to learn how to edit videos using Nano and Vim. The video will be brief because I don't want to go too deep into these concepts. But again, I would like you guys to tell me what you actually would like to see. Do you want brief videos that are not too deep but just good enough for you to follow through? Or do you want deeper dives into these concepts? So your feedback will be useful as we continue these presentations. All right, so it's going to be all hands-on, and I'll go to my Ubuntu environment and show you the commands. Again, most of them are here for your reference. So feel free to stop the video, look up the commands and practice. When you're working with Linux, you have to try to be as hands-on as possible. Otherwise, you may not really understand the concepts until you start practicing them. So the commands we'll be looking at here: pwd, print working directory. Again, I've shown you most of this before, but here we're going to put all of them in one place. Then we're going to learn the ls command, how to navigate it with all the different parameters you can use, like ls-l, ls-a, and ls-lh to see the human readable form of your files with regards to size and all of that. And then how to change and navigate your directory. And then this command here called tree can be very useful in helping you to visualize the directory structure of your environment. You might have to install it if it's not there already. All right, so pretty much this will be the first lesson we're going to learn. So let's go over to my Ubuntu environment, and then I will show you these commands. All right, let's make the Ubuntu available. Let's try to make this smaller. Okay, so I can place them side by side to make it easier for you to see. Okay, so hopefully that is visible. Let me now go ahead and log into my Ubuntu server. right, so we're going to install this letter, and I'm already here on my shell or on my terminal, and we'll be doing most things from here. If you don't know how to come here, then watch the previous videos and that will show you how to navigate to your shell. All right, again, the first command we're going to look here is pwd. Pwd will show you where you are at the moment. The idea is that when you're working with Linux from the shell, you might not be able to see the whole directory structure. And so a command like pwd will show you where you are at that point in time. And once you know your starting place, where you are at the moment, that will help you to know where to go to from there. And the good thing with this is that you can navigate from any place to any place as long as you know where you are. So if I say cd with nothing, I say pwd, I am right here in my home directory. So if I say cd, let's say root directory, and I say pwd, it shows that now I'm in my pwd, in my root directory. If I say cd etc, and I say pwd, it shows that I'm inside my etc directory, even though I can see it here as well. But using the pwd makes it easier for me to see that. So inside the cwd, inside the etc, if I do ls and I go to any of these directory structures here, let me see which one I can use. Let me try the net plan, cd net plan. Inside here, and I say pwd, it shows me that I'm inside net plan. So you get the idea. You can keep switching from one place to another. If I go from here to etc, which other directory can we go? Let's say etc lib. Let's go to lib. And I do pwd, it shows me I'm inside lib. If I go inside one of the directories like Linux, and now I do triggers, I go into triggers. Again, depending on the Linux distro you're using, it could be showing you where you are, but if it doesn't, just do pwd and that will show you where you are. So that's the whole idea here. And by doing that, I've actually been also doing the second set of commands, because the second set of commands here are going to be mostly ls. And so here you can do clear, you do ls, that will show you your files. You do ls -al, that will show you the hidden files and all the listing listing of the files. So if I go back and I do pwd, it shows that I'm inside here. ls shows me the files. ls -al shows me all, meaning all the files, hidden or not hidden. And then L means long listing, where I can see everything here. When it starts with a D, it means this is a directory. And again, you can see from the color blue that this is actually a directory. But if that is not showing you by color code, the first character here shows it's a D, which means it's a directory. And anyone that doesn't have a D in front of it is going to be a file. So you can say, for example, this one here doesn't have a D, but it has a hyphen. So that hyphen shows that this is a regular file. And again, if it has a dot in front, that means it's a hidden file or it's a hidden directory, which means that if you just do ls, you won't see the hidden ones. To see the hidden ones, you need to do -a. Okay, and of course, if you do -al, L will make it have a long listing of files. So that is that option there. You're always going to need it, ls, ls-l, ls-a, ls-al. And then if you add the alh, that will show you things in a more meaningful way. For example, here it's showing me that this is 4K. If I don't do that, you see that it's showing me in a much in a different format, which may be difficult for me to convert into an easily comprehensible format by human beings. So that is what the H is showing you there. And then okay, so we see all of that. Then how do you now go between directories? I want to make this, give me a second. Let me make this look more easy to see. Okay, So now I think this is easier to see. Okay, so you see all the options there, cd etc, cd. Okay, so if I do cd enter or cd tilde, this means the same thing. Cd or cd tilde means the same thing. Or even cd home. My username here is Debian. If I do that, those three commands are equivalent. Each one of them will take me to my home directory. And then I can also go into, once I do ls and I see that there's a documents, I can do cd downloads or documents. I'm basically going into this one here or this one here. All right. So I'm now in there inside the document folder. And in here, if I want to create another folder, I can do mkdir folder 1, or let's say directory 1, and I can say directory 1 there, and I can go in there as well. Okay, so that is how you use the cd command to move from one place to another. If you want to come back, just do cd ... and that will take me back one step to the root of that current directory that I was in. And anytime you want to make your screen neater, just do clear, and that will clear the screen for you. Okay, so now this command here called tree, if I do a tree, it's saying that there's nothing there, but I can install it. So which means if I say sudo snap install tree, I'm basically following what it's telling me here. If I do that, I need to put my password, because I put a sudo, and that will try to install that command called snap. Called tree. So now if I type the command called tree, it's now going to show me my directory structure in a much better way. So in this case, I don't necessarily have to be using the cd command and all of that, because it's able to show me the directory structure, as you can see right here. So that can be a very useful command. If I go into, well, I can actually do 3 etc from here, and it's a error opening directory, error opening directory. Okay, so if I do cd etc and I do 3, all right, because I don't have the permission here, I believe that's why it's doing that. So here my home directory, or let's actually go to my home and I do 3. Okay, that is showing the structure for my home directory. This is all from my home directory. I have a class, I have that file there, I have this file here, I have this directory here called desktop. Inside desktop, there's a directory called folder. There's a folder called practice. Inside practice, there's file. And then there's a directory called class, and then there's also file 1, file 2, file 4. And if you go into documents, you see directory 1. And if you go into downloads, there isn't anything in downloads. So let's try that. If you go to downloads, it's showing that there's nothing in there. So there's nothing to show right here. Okay. So tree command can be very useful in helping to see what you have there. If you say tree -L2, so when we don't put a tree, it shows us 31. Sorry, when we didn't put the L2, it shows us 31 directories. When we put the L2, it shows us the only 24, because we're basically restricting how far in we want this to go. So you see now that it's not going beyond just one step, or at least 2 steps. This is the first one, and this is the second one. But if you do this one, if you don't do anything, it's going to go all the way to all of them, including this one here. So you can see like this one here went into all the structures. So you can restrict how deep you want to go in your directory structure. Okay, so those are the commands there to show you how to work with this. And then files and directories. In a way, in Linux, we say that everything is a file. Okay, everything is a file. But to differentiate files from directories, directories are just kind of like a container where you put your file. While file contains the actual data, like you can open a file and store some record in there. You can, a picture is a file as well. So basically any file that has some content in it, you can refer to as a file. Log files, images, text files, configuration files, you can see them. So for example, if I say ls, again, because Ubuntu is giving me some color coding, all the ones in blue, these are directories, which means inside them, you can go inside them. You can go inside documents because it's a directory. It's a container containing files. Okay. A good way to look at this is to look at the directory like your shelf, your desk, your chest drawer. In a chest drawer, each one of the compartments is pretty much like the directory where you can store files and or whatnot. Okay. But what you store inside your chest drawers can be referred to as the actual file. Like you put a pen, in this case a pen can be like your file. So we use this mostly for organization. Directories are mostly for making your system look neat and more organized, while file is what you actually contains the data. Okay, so for example, if I say now, let's create a file here. I'm in my home directory. If I say touch notes, so take care of this command called touch. Touch is a way to quickly create files. Now I created a file called notes. If I do ls, now I see notes.txt. So that node.txt is a file, and I can store anything in that file. To store something there, I can quickly just say echo hello world. I can just say echo hello world. I can put, and I can pass it to notes.txt. Now if I say cat notes.txt, I have hello world in there. So a way to quickly create files is using that command called touch and then echoing content into it. But very soon I'll show you how to use real editors like Vim or Nano to create your files. So while that is a file, to create a directory, you do make dir and call it whatever you want to call it. For example, projects. Now projects is a directory. Now you can see the into directories, like see the into projects. Okay, and now I am inside. That is actually another one. This should be projects. CD projects. That is the one we just created. Inside it, there's no file at the moment. So let me clear. And now I can touch a file. Touch file1.txt ls-al. Now there's nothing in this file. Again, you can do echo hello world and pass it into node into file1.txt. So hello world. I can put WAF, it doesn't matter. All right, so now I have a file. Remember, if it's a file, it cannot see the into it. I cannot see the into this file because you don't see the into files. You cat files, and we'll go to that in a moment. You can cat a file to see the content, or you can use all sorts of commands like tail file-text to show you the bottom of the file. Okay, not just tail, not cat tail. You can use something like that. That will show you from the bottom. But this command here will not make much sense because this file is just very doesn't contain a lot of information basically. Okay, and then we know how to list files as well. ls-al. That will list the file for you. This is file 1. Then to go back, do cd ... and I can do ls-al. And again, that will show me all these different files that I have here. Now, a file can be of different types. So if I want to see the type of a file, like whether it's a text file or a binary file or even a block object file and all of that, you can use the command file. So if I say, let me go back. Okay, I have notes here. If I say file notes.txt, now it shows me that this is an ASCII file, which basically means that it's a text file. Now, if I say file user bin ls, this it will show what kind of file it is. Okay, it's saying that this one is executable. So an executable file is showing the architecture for the file, the version, and all of that information. All right, so that's basically this one here. Learning how to create a file, create a directory, move into those directories, create those files, and see the content. All right, let's move on to another one, which basically is what I've just done. Learning to create a file and learning to put content into that file. Okay, that's what I've done here. Again, if you want to open it with an editor, there's an editor called Nano. You can do Nano, and you can do notes, which is the name of the file. So Nano will open this file with the content that was there before. Nano is easy to use. I can just continue to type anything I want to type in here. Hello world, welcome to the world of Linux. Okay, a lot of Linux here. You can learn the fundamentals of Linux. All right, now you have your file. You can see how you want to save it. If you want to save it, just look at the bottom here. Write out is Control O. What you see here at the beginning, that is sign for control, and so it means Control O. If I press now on my keyboard Control O, that ignite this bottom here, and it's telling me file name to write. If I want to give it the same name, I can leave it as notes.txt. If I want to change the name, I can put whatever name I want here. For now, I don't want to change the name, so all I have to do is just press enter. Now this file has been saved. You can see here at the bottom it said wrote 3 lines. So the file has been saved, but I'm still within the Nano editor. So for me to exit the editor, once I'm done, I can press Ctrl X, as you can see here at the bottom. So I can do now Ctrl X, and now I'm out of Nano. So the editor here is pretty easy to use. And of course, another way, now if you want to see the file, just do cat notes.txt. And if you want to add something to this, you can do again echo, add in more lines, put this one here, add in more lines, and you're going to pass it to notes.txt. Remember, I need to make sure that I do this. If I use a single one, it's going to erase everything in there before, but double quote means append to the end of the file. So now we can cut, and we see that adding more lines has been added to the end of it. Okay, so to view the files, you can do all of that. Now you can do less. This commands cat less head. These commands can help you view a file. Okay, if the file is large, then head will show you the top. If it's so yep, you can do, let's do, if I can say cat notes.txt, and I can say head minus n1 notes.txt, shows me 1 line. I can do n2, and that will show me 2 lines. So in a way, that can be helpful depending on what it is you like to do. Okay, and if you use less, it's going to help you to paginate. See, now it's going to help you paginate. To continue to the next page, typically you press the space bar, and that will take you to the end. Once it's here, you just press letter Q. So again, let's do that. You said notes end, I press space bar, and it says is the end. I press Q and I'm out of it. If this were longer, if I press spacebar, it will go to the next page. Anytime you press the spacebar, it will take you to the next page. And that can be helpful if you're viewing a long file. Okay. If I have another large file here, I can show you, but you understand what I say or what I mean. You can try to work with larger files to see how that works. Okay. So that's how to view files. Again, you can use nano notes.txt, and of course that will open up nano with the new lines. And here, if you add some lines and you want to save, just do Ctrl O. But since we didn't add anything, I can just try Ctrl X, and that will take me out as well. All right, so now let's try to rename files. Now I have this file here called notes. I can say move notes.txt into notes1.txt. So basically I've just renamed this file notes into another name. So now that's the name I have. Okay, I can copy though notes1.txt into notes2. So here you can see that I now have two of these files, notes1 and notes2. Both of them should contain the same information because I basically just copy one into the other. So copy will help you copy one file into the other, while move will help you rename it, kind of change the name of what it is that you already have in place. Okay, so ls minus al h, let's say notes star, and that will show me the file called notes and the size of that file, which is basically this one here. All right, so this is all about creating and renaming files. We'll move to the next line here, and this is going to help us with copying that I just showed as well. So if I do clear, and now I want to copy an entire folder into another folder. So let's say, let me create it. Now we have the directory called documents. Okay, to make it easy, let me just create, we have this directory here called project. So let's see, ls project 5, nothing in there, project 6, nothing in there, project 7, nothing in there. Okay, so let's go into project 5, and let me put some files here. I'm going to say touch file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4. Now I have 4 files here inside project 5. Okay, let's see what is inside project 6. There's nothing in project 6. So I can copy everything project 5 into project 6. Can copy everything from here in there. You can say star into that. So ls project 6, I got those 4 files. Okay, so got that there. But how about if I just want to make a backup of my files? What if I just want to make a backup of project 5? So again, ls project 5, I have that there. Let me clear. Okay, clear. I can say make directory back to backup. Make directory back. Then I can say copy project 5. Project 5. Okay, I can say copy -r. That is recursive project 5 into back. So this one, if I go into back, it's going to copy the actual project and all the files inside of it. All the files will be here. Everything inside project here goes into back. And you see inside that there's project 1 directory, there's project 2 directory. But because I use -r, it's able to copy everything recursively into that folder. All right, so this commands copy copy, that is CP or CP minus R, can be very useful as you try to move things from one place to another, or as you try to back up your files. Okay, and then we talk about move already. So now if I want to remove nodes 2, I can say R. If I want to delete nodes 2, I can say nodes 2.txt ls minus al nodes 2 ls. Nodes 2 is gone, so now I only have now nodes 1, and I can say again copy nodes into nodes 3.txt. I have those, and I can say remove nodes 3.txt, and that will remove nodes 3, and now ls, I don't have nodes 3 anymore. Okay. Okay, you can also remove an entire folder. So for example, we have the back, ls back. You can say rm. If I say rm project, it's going to complain. And that's because it said that it's a directory. Okay. But if I do rm minus rf, that is, I'm forcing it. I'm saying remove, and I'm putting f to force it. Now everything's gone. So my project in there, everything is gone. All right. So, but maybe I still have the back. I still have the back here. So if I want to move everything in the, so let's see, project is still here. So if I want, I can copy minus R back into the directory where it was before. So I can say project. Copy minus R project. Okay, I need to say project into, I'm copying it back one directory. So if I go back here, I should see project should be here. Even though I deleted it earlier, it should be back now. Project. Okay, so project is back. Even though we deleted it, I copied back from the backup environment. Okay, so hopefully those are useful. These are different ways you can be navigating your environment. And then now we understand hidden files, ls minus al. That will show you all the hidden files. Hidden files simply means that they have a dot in front of them. So for example, I can say make directory backup. I can say cd backup. Okay, inside here I can say touch.file1. So ls nothing shows, ls minus al file1 shows, just because I put a dot in front of it. So this is sysadmin stuff. It's a way to hide files so that if you don't want everyone to have access to it, you can have it hidden. And there are a bunch of files that are always hidden in your environment. Right here, if I say ls minus al, like bash rc, okay, that's now showing there. So if I do pwd is the ls minus al. Okay, if I go up, you see that certain files, important files, are all going to be here. For example, your bash rc is there. Take note, if you want to go to that file or directory, if you want to see a file that has a dot, you need to remember to put a dot. So I can say cat.bash rc, and I can view it like that. So the dot is important. If I don't put that, I won't be able to see this file. It says the file doesn't exist, but when I put that, it's able to show me. And so certain files are used by Linux to take care of your environmental variables and what shell you're using and all of that whenever you log on. And that file I just showed you is one of those. There's another one called .bash profile. And you can, okay, this is bash logout and bash history. So you get the idea. Any file that has a dotted front is basically a hidden file. And you've seen me use this before. If I do ls, let's go into project. In project here, I have, let's go into project 1. Okay, let me see where to go. Project 2. All right, so here let me touch file1.txt, file2.txt, file3.txt. So as you can see here, this file has the same extension, but the file name is the same. So if I want to list all these files, of course, one option is to do ls-al, but that will show me everything in this directory. If I just want to see anything that has the file, I can do ls file star. It means anything that has file, but whatever goes after that, I don't care. So if I do that, let me ls-al. See, it's showing me anything that has file, and it doesn't care what comes after that. So star means anything. All right, so that can be useful when you start to work with files. And then you can also do ls question mark. Okay, when I did ls question mark, that shows only one character. And so that was able to show me just this. Anything that doesn't have just that is not going to show me. And so if I let's try this. If I do ls-al this dot star, okay, so I did file, and I did that is any character. Dot here means any one character. And then after that, I say I don't care what comes after that. And the only thing, well, after that I want a dot, and then I don't care what comes after that, right? So let's go do it again. I want everything that's out with file. Then there should be just one character that follows it. Then there should be a dot. Then whatever goes after that, I don't care, because it's a star. Star means don't care and anything. So that shows me these two files. File 1 has a 2, which is exactly one question mark. And then there's a dot, and then there's a txt. So this one is not showing. Why is this one not showing? Well, because this one has file, and there is nothing that will represent the question mark. So that is not going to show. Okay. So you can use this for different things in different ways. Let's do this one and say file, okay, ls-al file 1 2 3 1 to 3. Okay, ls-al ls-al. Okay, so this one here says show me anything that has file and that ends with 1 or 2 or 3. And this is the only one that has that. Okay, this is the only one that has that, the file 1, which is this one. No, sorry, this one here. File 1 is this one here. Okay, now why are these ones not showing? Well, because dot, I didn't specify I want a dot. I only say anything after the file that has these numbers. So to see more of this, I need to do touch file 2, touch file 3, and now this command will list 3 files because I have file 1, file 2, file 3. So the idea here is that the system is able to take the numbers you have in here and substitute them here, like file 1, file 2, file 3. If I say 1 to 2, only files will show because these are the only files that has that, file 1 and file 2. All right, so as you can see here, these are called wildcards. Okay, start means anything, matches anything. Question mark means just a single character, and A to Z is a range. Okay, and then if you want to have those numbers to mark specific characters, you can also have them as you saw them there. All right, practice more. With any of this stuff, you need to practice a lot to fully understand it. Okay, so now we're just going to talk about Nano and Vim, and then we're going to round up. So I already talked about nano. Nano is pretty straightforward. Let's see the file we're going to use. If I say nano file 3.txt and there's nothing in here, just start typing. I am learning Linux. Okay. Come join me learn. All right, so I'm done. Again, remember to save is Control O, enter. To save, to go out is Control X, and I'm back to my shell. So I can clear the screen. I'm back to my shell. Now, if I want to view this file, I can do nano. What was the name of the file? The name of the file was file 3. I can say cat file3.txt, and now it says I am learning Linux, come join me, which is showing the content of that file. Now, instead of using nano, I can also use this editor here called Vim, VIM. Now, Vim is a very good editor, but it's kind of more difficult to use than using nano. However, if you want to continue learning Linux, it's emphasized to always learn Vim or VI. Either call it VIM or VI. And the reason for that is because in any system, Vim is guaranteed to be in there, even though nano may not be there until the admin install it. So here, the reason why this is kind of interesting is because it has different modes. So the mode that it is at the moment is where I can navigate between the lines. I can go up and down, but I cannot edit. I cannot add anything as it is. Remember, with nano, you just go in there and then start making some edit, but that is not the case here. You cannot just start making edit. So after the command mode, which is the default that the system takes you into, the next thing is to learn to be in the insert mode. To insert mode, you need to get used to this letter called I. So if I press letter I right now, at the moment it says insert. So I is just the first character of insert. So if you remember that, you'll be good. So right now, I can now type, I can now begin to add information because I'm now in the insert mode. So I can come to the end of this line, I can press enter, and I can say, this is now learning Vim editor. To when you open Vim, you will be in the command mode. To start adding content, press letter I for insert, and that will enable you to edit or add to the file. Okay, so after that, once you're done, you now have to press escape. Remember, just watch. If I press escape, it's going to insert mode will disappear, and then I'm back to my command mode or navigation mode. So in this case here, basically, I cannot add anything. I can only move up and down. Again, to add, press letter I and continue your typing. If you want to come out, press exit, your exit key on the keyboard, and you're back. Okay, now how do we save? To save, you need to press the colon. That activates, as you see here at the bottom, it activates the command mode. And you need to remember the command to save, which is W. So W, now the file is saved. See what it says here? 7 lines written. Okay, so I've been able to open this file. I've been able to add content. I've been able to save it. So really, I'm done. If I want to exit, I'm already in the command mode, so I can, but if I want to be sure, I can press escape again, then colon, W to save if I haven't saved it, Q to quit. So WQ, now I'm back to my shell. So cat file 3 cat file3.txt and now I see all the information I added to this file. So using VI is straightforward, but at first time you just need to get used to these commands and be able to move between the modes. So again, to recap, I try to put all the information here. When you open Vim, you'll be in the command mode. To start adding content, you press I for insert, and that will enable you to edit or add to the file. So let's go through that again, and then I'm going to round up. So Vim, if you want to use the same file, put the file name, file3. If you want to open up a new file, just put the name of the file. Whatever name you want to give it here, I can say, let's use the same file, file3.txt. Okay, so the content is here, but at this point I cannot add anything, I can only navigate. So to insert, you press letter I, and then this will help me now to add more content. Once I'm done, press escape key. Now you're in the command mode or navigation mode. To save, you press colon, W to save, Q to quit. Those are the basic commands you need to work with Vim. There are a lot more commands. Like I said, in fact, this is very powerful. But if you get used to what I just showed you so far, you should be good when you start to work with Vim. All right, so pretty much those are the things I wanted to show you in this video. It's kind of like showing you the fundamentals of how to, let's go back to the first slide here. So basically showing you how to use the Linux basic commands, understanding the differences between files and directories and how to use them, creating and managing files on Linux using things like Torch or Vim or Nano, then using commands to copy like cp, mv for moving files or renaming files, and rm for deleting files, or rm-rf for deleting a whole directory. Then understanding the differences between hidden files and unhidden files. Just by putting a dot in front of a file, it becomes a hidden file. And then learning to use the wildcards like the star to mean anything, don't care whatever is in there. Question mark to mean just one character. Of course, 2 question mark will mean just 3 characters. 3 question marks will mean just 3 characters. Okay, on and on like that. And then we learn how to use Nano and how to use Vim. Nano is pretty straightforward, but to use Vim, you need to just get used to how to navigate between the different modes of Vim, and then remember the commands to save, which is just W, then to quit is Q. So we just use WQ and that will quit. So these things are very kind of straightforward, but often you need to play with them to really understand them better. All right. I hope you find that video useful. If you do, please try to subscribe to the channel and try to come back for live streaming like I just did this one, testing live streaming. And if this goes well in the future, I intend to have more of this live streaming. If you want to be part of the streams, you just have to sign up, just indicate your interest. For now, do it as a comment, and also let me know what kind of content you like, what kind of Linux content you like. Do you want to just like brief summaries or deeper dive into this contents? But don't forget, this one is for the Linux fundamentals. So really, I'm just showing the fundamentals at this stage. So maybe I shouldn't go too deep